Today, we're going to break down a really important report that's making waves, one that could genuinely change the future for millions of young Filipinos. This is our look at the EDCOM II Final Report, and it's called Turning Point for a very good reason.
You know, for every child, education should be the thing that lets them fly, that lets them chase their dreams. But as this picture shows you, for way too many kids in the Philippines right now, that dream feels like it's being pulled underwater. The very system meant to lift them up is in serious trouble.
Okay, I want you to really let this number sink in. 9 out of 10. That's not a typo. By the time they're 15 years old, a staggering 90% of Filipino students can't properly read and understand a simple piece of text. This isn't just a bad grade. This is a fundamental breakdown at the heart of the system. So first, we have to look this problem right in the eye. The report doesn't mince words. It calls it the Philippine learning crisis. Let's dig into the sobering evidence. Which, of course, leads to the big question. How on earth did we get to this point? So next, we're going to try to diagnose some of the deep systemic reasons behind this crisis. Now here's something that might surprise you. The report makes it crystal clear that this learning crisis doesn't kick off in grade 1. No, it actually starts long before a child ever steps foot inside a classroom. And a huge part of that is nutrition. Almost a quarter of all Filipino children are stunted. And we're not just talking about physical height here. Stunting directly messes with a child's brain development, which damages their basic ability to learn, sometimes permanently. So what happens once they're actually in school? Well, that's where another huge systemic flaw comes into play. The report points to this widespread practice of mass promotion. Basically, students just keep getting moved up to the next grade year after year, even if they haven't actually mastered what they were supposed to learn. And the commission is not subtle about this. This is a direct, urgent order. They're saying this practice has to end without delay, so we can stop this cycle of kids just falling further and further behind. Now, this is so important to understand. This isn't the kids' fault, and it's not even the teacher's fault. Our teachers are facing their own massive challenges. They're often unsupported and, unbelievably, are assigned to teach subjects they have zero training in. And just how big is this mismatch? Get this, more than 60% of high school teachers are teaching subjects that are not what they studied in college. I mean, can you imagine asking a history major to teach advanced chemistry? It's a system that's setting both the teacher and the students up to fail. And on top of everything else, the physical places where kids are supposed to be learning are literally crumbling. There's a backlog of more than 165,000 classrooms that need to be either built from scratch or repaired. I mean, how can we expect quality learning to happen in conditions like these? Okay, so after all that pretty grim news, the report shifts gears. It argues that this crisis, as bad as it is, has also brought us to a national turning point. We actually have a chance to forge a totally new path forward. So, what is this EDCOM II report exactly? Well, think of it as the result of a massive, 3-year-long deep dive into the entire education system. But it's not just a list of problems. It's a concrete 10-year roadmap for how to fix things. So why should we believe this time is any different? Well, here's the key. For the first time in a long, long time, all the major players, DepEd, CHED, TESDA, and even Congress are all on the same page. They're all aligned and ready to move together. That's a huge deal, and that's what creates real momentum for change. All right, let's get into the actual blueprint. What are the key steps they're proposing for this decade of recovery? The whole plan really stands on 4 main pillars. 1, invest big in early childhood. Tackle things like stunting before kids even get to school. 2, a laser focus on foundational skills like reading and math. 3, professionalize our teachers. And 4, completely modernize how the whole system is run. So the immediate priorities are super clear. Job number 1 is to stop mass promotion and make sure the new streamlined Matatag curriculum actually works. The goal has to be about students truly mastering the basics, not just getting pushed through the system. And look, you can't help students without helping teachers. A huge part of the plan is to professionalize the teaching force. That means finally ending that insane 62% subject mismatch and cutting down on all the administrative busy work that keeps teachers from, actually teaching. Because in the end, this is the goal. This is what it's all about. All these reforms, all this hard work, it's about building a future where every single Filipino child, no matter where they come from, gets a real chance to learn, to succeed, and to truly thrive.
So what does this shared path forward look like? Well, the report emphasizes over and over again, this is not going to be a quick fix. This is going to take a decade of hard work and commitment from everyone. And there's a clear timeline. The big reforms start rolling out in 2026, with the ultimate goal of having a fundamentally rebuilt and strong education system by 2035. This is definitely a marathon, not a sprint. And if you need any more proof why this long-term view is so critical, just listen to this quote. It's from a report on Philippine education from 1925, almost a century ago. It warns that without consistency and permanence, the same problems will just keep coming back. It's a haunting reminder of what's at stake. And that brings us to the final and most important question. For the first time in a very long time, we have a clear, comprehensive, and unified plan on the table. The blueprint is here, so the question now is for all of us. What is it going to take to finally make it a reality this time?